we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, man, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like, he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. And it's just it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory. What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those one of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like he got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, and still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then can I make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the Buccateers podcast, a very special episode of Pigskin and Piledrivers here, where we get to you your latest NFL, UFC, and wrestling news, notes, and so much more. Man, we got a great episode in store, a lot to talk about, a lot of good things happening in the world of wrestling, in the world of football, and UFC. It's going to be a very exciting weekend all across the board with the man, the myth, the legend, none other than Joey Nips, Milwaukee bound this weekend. Joey, how the hell you doing? Welcome back.
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Another great week of Pigskins and Piledrivers. And hey, we might not have J-Lo, but we got everything we need. Let's get it on.
Yeah, we know the episode surely won't be as long. So there you go. We do miss J-Lo, the great J-Lo. Hopefully he's watching out there. If he is, give us a hello. Olivia's watching. We love our lady listeners. We got a lot to go on here on Pigskin and Piledrivers, NFL, UFC, wrestling, and so much more. It's going to be a loaded show, so we're not going to waste any time. Without further ado, we're going to get into the thick of things. Obviously, our guy Parlay Pete, without further ado, he's joining us on Facebook Live. That's incredible. Always a great time when Parlay Pete's in the house. The Godfather, James Rubright, in the crowd as well. The great guy he is. Thank you, gentlemen, for tuning in. Joey, the Colts did use a transition tag. As we expected, it would either be on Pierce or Jones, one of their tags. End up using the transition tag on Daniel Jones. So, yes, could maybe go elsewhere, but if he does, the Colts would get a king's ransom. This kind of feels more like a move that's going to lead to more than a 1-year contract, but just get the market value feel on Daniel Jones to see where they stand.
Yeah, and absolutely, you got to play a little hardball with these things. I mean, the transition tag's still $37.5 million roughly, and he did come off of the ACL tear. Now we started 7-1, so I'm sure his camp is saying, "Hey, we started 7-1, 8-2. We're on looking like one of the best 4 or 5 teams in football before the injury." Very fair point. That's why I want him back. Then again, you got to be a little careful. He's not, you want to keep saying the health progress. And if somebody, I don't know, there's going to be a bunch of quarterbacks out there like Kyler Murray who just got released. But if Minnesota wants to offer a few years at $150 million, or somebody wants to go crazy outside the market, hey, God bless them by all means, and we'll match and we'll get our QB back and pay a little more. But I'm fine with that as is. And with Pierce, if we can't get a deal before Sunday, hey, God bless him if he hits the open market. One team in Buffalo became a little less available there. But if somebody's going to offer him a bag of $30 million or north per year, it wouldn't be too appetizing to us, as we got other things to figure out as well. So in contract negotiations, both Pierce and Jones want to be back for sure. But at the same time, money does talk. We'll see what happens. You'll see the Colts maybe make a trade or two, maybe reduce some contracts where we create more cap space. But for all NFL teams, it's going to be crazy these next few days before we hit free agency. I think a lot more trades, I've said it before, will be done than usual. And we'll see where it goes. But I hope Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce are back. But if, God forbid, somebody goes too rich, things happen.
Yeah, and we'll get into Alec Pierce more in a little bit, as we are planning on talking about wide receivers in free agency. So we'll save that chatter for then. Him and Evans are available for now. You never know how long that lasts, but 2 of the top receivers left on the market. The Buccaneers did bring back their entire kicking unit on special teams. Riley Dixon's contract got picked up for this year. He's making north of $3 million now. And long snapper Evan Deckers signed his tenure today, getting him paid right around that $1 million mark. So Danny Smith coming over from the Steelers, the ultimate gum chewing special teams coordinators. Richard says, "Hola amigos, hola Richard," is going to try and right the ship. They had a very good second half. Chase McLaughlin had another great year last year. Dixon ended the year strong. Deckers, I'll be intrigued on to see what he does. He showed some signs of life his first couple of years. It's going to be year 3 for Deckers. This will be a big year, but the Bucs do keep their kicking staff, their special teams staff intact. Joey, always interesting. These long snappers, I feel like, they could last all the time in the world. A guy like Evan Deckers is already back in Tampa for year number 3. And Riley Dixon's back. I think he ended the year pretty good last year after struggling to start the Bucs punter.
Yeah, and just from a general point of view, I don't think people realize how important the operation is. I mainly mean that on field goals. But even these days, with the kickoff rule, you got to land it in certain spots. You don't want to get it too far. It could go to the 40. Punting got better. I hated your punter for the first half of the season. He did seem to find a little bit of a groove in the second half. So, hey, I believe in the gum chewer. I mean, I tell you what, he might have been on TV a few too many times this year when the Colts played the Steelers, but they play good special teams. And if he's vouching for these guys to be back, which I would assume would be for that reason, clearly fine with it. Bring back the double Ds, get McLaughlin, and you're good to go. So I'm okay with that. I mean, continuity is never a bad thing either.
Yeah, and the great Richard saying, kicking Dixon, he can punt. Sometimes it takes him 5 minutes to kick the ball. Yeah, Danny Smith is going to be all over his release time. Dixon or Dixon, the second one, Dixon is how you spell his last name. But it'll be interesting to see how Danny Smith has his special teams unit locked and loaded. I'll be intrigued to see how they do. But yes, Bucs fans, Evan Deckers is back. Some other news and notes. Quarterback Connor Basilick is back. Christian Izzian, Sean Tucker, Marquise Watts did not have their tenures picked up. They can all still be back, but that just means the Bucs didn't like the 10-year number, which sat around $3.26 million for each of those individuals. Tucker, I think, could maybe make that out there. Obviously, I don't think a guy like Watts could. You never know with Izzy, and he's probably looking to intrigue his role, though, as we are live here on the Buccateers podcast, talking all things NFL, UFC, wrestling, as we lead up to a very, very big time of year for football fans, free agency. Richard says, Joey, I don't remember, but how did you feel about Colts picking Warren last year? Seen a lot of mocks with Bucs drafting tight end Sadiq. I'll let you go, Joey, but I'll say this real quick. I wouldn't worry too much about those mocks because the Bucs are pretty much going to have 3 tight ends on their roster regardless. You still have Culp and Durham under contract. O'Keefe, we'll see if they do bring back, as he will be a free agent. But Cade Otton's a free agent, which is not great, obviously. But Joey, thoughts on that with a lot of mocks taking a tight end for the Bucs?
I mean, of course, Richard, it depends on need. I mean, it depends what you truly view about your tight ends in general. So that would start there. But Colts have needed one desperately, a tight end. We've had our B's and C's all over the place, but we finally got that. And why is that important? I mean, you want to talk about opening up the middle of the field with these Bucs receivers. And Godwin, you know, he's injury prone now, right? He's usually the guy that opens up the middle, makes the tough catches. I'm not saying you have to draft one, but you better make sure you have a tight end who can do the dirty work, as Tones used to tell me, because we didn't really have that. So, Bucs, D-line, other things, free agency, there's plenty of ways to go about these things. Trades could happen, but I was very happy when the Colts took Warren because we needed it. And a team like the Bears didn't seem to need one. They took Loveland and were just as happy as well. So it just depends on need, but it's never a bad thing to take one early. Don't be scared by the position. If they're a good player, go get it.
The thing is, the Bucs do have a very effective tight end, Cade Otton, but he's projected to get paid $12.5 million a year in free agency. I just don't think the Bucs,
assuming he's probably gone.
Yeah, I just don't think the Bucs can justify, and I like Cade, but not a knock on him. I don't think he's a $12.5 million a year guy. The tight ends are interesting. Sadiq is an interesting prospect. And I think if the Bucs didn't need to retool that defense as much as they did, it would be more realistic. I do look for them to re-sign O'Keefe as he's a free agent. He helps a lot on blocking and special teams. You keep Devin Culp, you keep Payne Durham. But then, Joey, I'm pretty intrigued with the tight ends out there for veteranship. Again, if the Bucs didn't need as much as they did, I'd be all for drafting one. But you could probably get one of these guys.
Who do we got?
On a pretty cheap deal if you're the Buccaneers. And again, that's assuming Cade Otton leaves. Projected about $12.5 million a year. But you got Jonnu Smith now. Dallas Goedert.
I take him.
Isaiah Likely.
I take him.
Chris Okonkwo, the old Titans tight end.
I'd be fine there.
Travis Kelce, he's probably obviously,
right.
Tyler Higbee, Noah Fant, David Njoku, Darren Waller, Cade Otton, Adam Troutman, Greg Dulcich, Austin Hooper. Could be a lot worse. Charlie Kohler, and now Will Disley got released as well. Not lighting the world on fire, but one of those guys you could sign to a cheap deal and maybe get the job done along with Devin Culp, Payne Durham, and O'Keefe.
Yeah, 2 things. You definitely need someone to spearhead those 3 guys. They definitely won't be successful in the pass game on their own. I do like them in other ways, like blocking and that. But also, I wouldn't draft, as Tone said, that high when you have defensive needs. I would look at one of the free agents. And honestly, Tones, I know you say Otton might command more money, but with all those guys you just named, I'm interested to see how the market shakes out. If you can't bring Otton back, I would be fine with any of those 7 to 8 guys you named on a cheap, 1-2 year deal.
Couldn't agree more. As Dave Castle's joining us live. Yeah, I think a guy like Okonkwo is intriguing from Tennessee, though. Really never has had a great QB to throw him. A guy like Charlie Kohler, I wouldn't be opposed to. Austin Hooper seems to be semi-productive everywhere he goes, and he was just with New England. So it'll be interesting to see. But the Ravens obviously won't bring back both Kohler and Likely, in my opinion. So we'll see where that goes. I think that, Isaiah Likely could command a decent amount of money out there. on the market. Speaking about decent amount of money, Joey touched base on Pierce a little bit. Going to dive more into him and Evans here in a bit, but DJ Moore will continue to get paid a decent amount of money as Buffalo is guaranteeing his contract until the year 2028. It's about $20 million a year for DJ Moore. They got him in a fifth from Chicago in return for a second. Joey, the Bears had to trade one of their wide receivers. They weren't going to keep both the Dunze and Moore. As Luther Burden looked pretty promising too. They already have a lot invested into that room. Loveland and Komet as well. So although it was kind of seen as a foreshadowed move, I think this is a rare win-win trade in the NFL these days where the Bears get a pretty good pick. The Buffalo still gets a pick back and a much-needed low end. I don't consider him a high-end one. I don't even really consider him a one, but just to be nice, I'll put him as a low-end number one wide receiver, which is still a big upgrade for the Bills.
Yeah, I'd say it's a win-win for sure. Maybe a little more so for Chicago, but the Bills' desperation to get a receiver can't be understated. DJ Moore had his times in Chicago. Sometimes mentally, I wonder where he fully is at, but he realizes this is his shot. He's still under big money. If he wants to win a Super Bowl, if he ever wants to get another good contract, it's going to have to go well in Buffalo. I think he'll be more motivated than ever before, and you will see the best out of DJ Moore, that's for sure. And then from the Bears' perspective, hey, you got a second-round pick. I know you gave it fifth back, but I never thought in a million years you get a second-rounder either. So, as you say, this is a win-win. Worked out well for both teams. I see why they both did it. You know, Bears have a good young core with Ben Johnson. Meanwhile, Bills have a veteran team where they're trying to kickstart this shit to a Super Bowl, regardless of bad ownership over there. So I think, you know, I don't care about the money either. So, the Bills, who cares? They'll find a way, cap space. They made the trade. They'll solve other holes. They definitely need to do a little bit of that. But let's be honest, when the Bills lost that game in Denver, it was more on Josh Allen to me than anybody else almost in some ways, more than before. So we'll see what happens, but I like it for both sides.
Yeah, and I think if you did watch that game, you could see Allen really just didn't have anybody to throw the ball to as part of
a lot of injuries.
Yeah, and that to me, their roster just sucked offensively to begin with outside of Allen and Cook. They had a bunch of 4, 5, 6. You know me, I'm a pretty harsh critic on wide receiver rooms. I don't think the Bills had a wide receiver above the number 4 wide receiver. Khalil Shakir maybe a 3, but, you know, he's not really beating the world. Keon Coleman, you've seen the GM rip him to shreds live on TV, so obviously he had problems. You get a guy like DJ Moore that will elevate the play. They do have decent, cute tight ends. I don't think they have an elite tight end, but they have 2 cute tight ends. James Cook, pretty good running back. What I think intrigues me the most about this, I always say connect the dots. DJ Moore's best NFL career seasons have come under Joe Brady in his time in Carolina. So that's intriguing as well. You could say, hey, maybe that is why, not an overpay, but maybe that's why they targeted DJ Moore, because his familiarity with the guy like Joe Brady. And I'm just speculating, but I don't think DJ Moore, I don't think he's a bad locker room guy, but I don't think he's a great one by any means. So you probably want to keep him happy, put him with a guy like Joe Brady. And then the Bears, I don't think they're done trading, Joey. I think they'll probably package one of those second rounders with another pick, and they'll try and upgrade either in the edge room or offensive line. We know the game's built through the trenches. Although I think Bears will probably end up signing Redskins center Tyler Biadasz, but you know, between edge rushers, D linemen, O linemen, Bears need it all. So now you have an extra second round pick to potentially package in a trade for a big man, either offense or defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, when they lost their center the other day unexpectedly, only at 27 years old, which isn't shocking in today's
It's like
league.
when the Bucs, Ali Marpet retired. Remember that? That was the same sort
Remember
of...
the name Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
That fucking quitter?
Yeah, now he's leading Stanford to 4-win seasons.
Yeah, Frank Reich's already with the Jets, so everything's good. But yeah, I mean, the Bears, it seems as if they're doing things right. It starts with head coaching. Their GM's been spotty, but more good than bad, if you ask me, it seems. So, yeah, they need to get center solved. They need to figure out pass rush because they took Dio Dangmo from the Colts, and he was a train wreck and injured. So, they're creating picks to maybe trade. And like I said, be ready for trade season the next 72 hours.
We do want to give our condolences to longtime Packers president and CEO Bob Harlan dies at the age of 89. Led the Packers to a couple Super Bowls, couple historic hires as well for the general manager position. But Joey, as you kind of mentioned earlier, hey, maybe I don't think Buffalo's done adding wide receivers, but they're out of the Pierce Evans type wide receivers. I think they'll be looking at the 1 year, the De'Ami Brown types, in my opinion, a guy who could get 1 year, $5 million on a play it deal. You look around the rest of the league, and again, I hope Pierce is back with the Colts, but as a Colts fan, I wouldn't be too upset, say, if the Chargers gave a guy like Pierce 4 years, $110 million, and the Colts end up bringing in an edge rusher. Remember, the Colts are clamped on draft capital to begin with. So to me, Joey, if they do bring in an edge rusher and Pierce demands that type of money, I think that's a win for the Colts if you let Pierce walk. I still think they're in play for a guy like Stephon Diggs, the Colts are. There's some other intriguing wide receivers out there. Rashid Shaheed, I thought he'd be perfect in Buffalo. Now he needs a home. I don't think Seattle will be able to afford him with JSN. I'm not ruling Pierce back to the Colts out, but my point is, if a team's willing to pay him almost $30 million a year, I wouldn't be too upset as a Colts fan if he did walk, because that probably means A, the Colts are landing a big-time edge rusher, and B, you'll probably get a pretty damn good comp pick next year, because I would doubt the Colts, you're probably looking at a 4th-round comp pick, maybe a 3rd if that were the case, if Pierce did walk.
Yeah, let me be clear. My preferred choice out of everything the Colts do would be getting the Jones to Pierce connection back. But if that doesn't happen because money gets real rich, like you said, I mean, the Chargers, like Patriots now, Chiefs, there's a decent teams out there that need a wide receiver, and Alec Pierce now is the number 1 free agent out there. So somebody's going to quote unquote overpay. Now that's not knocking Pierce at all, because he has improved each year. And the last 2 years, he sets records for most yards with least catches because he gets downfield a lot. But at the same token, like you said, there's 50 something players on a football team that we need to take care of, and we need to get pass rush figured out, which we have not been able to do. So if that happens, and God bless him, if he gets, like he said on the Up and Adam show the other day, if he has the right to, possibly test the market and see what's out there, hey, kudos to you. If someone's going to give you that 28 million plus a year for multiple years and a lot of guaranteed money, it might not be in our best interest. We'll keep Pittman then, mess some cap space around, have a lower tag there, not tag, but lower money on the dollar, and we'll see what happens. So as I said, I'd love Jones to Pierce to be back, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and you got to be smart, because there's a lot of things to be done and a lot of moves to be made. So at the same time, I'd sit here and say, if I end up with Daniel Jones and Trey Hendrickson, I could sleep easy too without Pierce. So I go back and forth. It sucks he has to be the number 1 guy available. That's what I think makes it harder in this situation.
Yeah, that's my point as well. As long as you get your edge, I think anything's really okay as an outcome. And we say it all the time, the star free agents of today are the cap casualties of a couple of years down the road from now. You're seeing that all the time. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, one thing for certain, Colts will sign a big name or two. Who that might be, we'll see. Time will tell, but plenty of edge rushers out there, as Katz and I talked about yesterday. This is probably the best year to need an edge, because you got Bosa, you got Mack, you got Hendrickson. The Vikings are dangling Greenard out there. You obviously have Max Crosby available. You got a lot of edge rushers available. So for teams like Colts and Bucs, not a bad spot to be in. And it's hilarious. I mean, a guy like Mike Evans now, Joe, you're seeing, teams like the Titans are interested. Well, of course, first and foremost, I think all 32 teams are going to be interested in a guy like Mike Evans. Secondly, come on.
That was just laughable. I mean, it's not even about. I'm not always big into like calling those bullshit sites out or whatever. But when I saw your tweet with that, and I saw Titans are right, like it's not even on the hemisphere of a possibility. It's not even clickbait. It's so poor. Maybe that's because we know too much. I don't know.
Yeah, and the agent was literally on saying he wants to play for only a contender, right? That would eliminate probably 16 teams right off the bat. Naturally, you cut it in half.
I mean, being Tampa Bay, I'd eliminate probably 20 teams.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, just laughable stuff. But regardless, I do still believe Mike is back. Joey, the only other team I would maybe feel a threat upon would be a team like Houston, because let's be honest, Mike Evans has had such a tough life. He's pretty much been an adult since the age of 9 or 10 years old, where he had to play a father-like figure for his siblings. I think he's a man of integrity, a man that knows what he has to do for his family. And as I was telling Pops yesterday, and I told Katz on the show as well, imagine being a guy like Mike Evans. You're either going to go to maybe Houston, sign a 2-year, $40 million deal. So you get hurt a couple games. You only catch 35 to 45 balls, 500 yards, 5-6 touchdowns. You're going to get booed off the field there. Where if you come back to Tampa and you do that, you're still going to get heralded as a hero regardless. So I think that plays a factor too, Joey, is the comfortability level. Evans has to know, as a pro's pro, and as long as he's been an adult for now, that not only the smartest route, probably financially and economically and for his family, but the smartest route in terms of fandom behind your back would be to remain in Tampa Bay as well. I mean, look at how many times we've seen older wide receivers go elsewhere and just get booed out, like Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Andre Johnson with the Colts.
Also more over the hill than Evans, but yes, I fully agree.
Yeah, you know my point, though. I mean, it's hard for these type of guys to uproot and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I used to be only 2 teams for him, Chiefs and Bucs as an option. I said Chiefs because I'm like, hey, if he really wants to win more than Tampa, where you're in a mediocre division and coming in first slot, the Chiefs to me only makes sense because they're in the Super Bowl so damn much. By the way, the Bucs beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, as you all know. So I'm expanding that to 3 with Houston because of the hometown factor there. But let me be very clear. Bucs to me are still the leader in the clubhouse. In Buffalo, obviously, people would say they're gone now with the DJ Moore. So to me, really, I'm not even going off of any rumors or anything he's talked to. But if he's saying he wants to win, to me, it's got to be Tampa Bay, Kansas City, or Houston, because you can throw in that hometown factor and he'd be in a dome. So those would be the 3 teams, and I'd probably put it in that order.
Agreed. And the only reason, I think he did have interest in the Chiefs. I think Mahomes' injury, I think they're not rebuilding, but remember when they traded Tyreek Hill and they kind of cut some flack? I think they're doing a similar.
But they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. They're not rebuilding. I would call it more of a retool. We just seen they traded McDuffie. They could still bring in Mike Evans. I'd put them as team number 3. Texans, that's why I think he's just a buck, man. I mean, we got to remember, too, his wife was the one who kept him in Tampa last time. And, Joey, to the people who say Carolina or Jacksonville for Dave Canales or Liam Cohen, he said he wants an elite quarterback. Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, speak of the devil, reuniting with Cohen. No offense. Again, Jacksonville and Carolina just don't cross a lot. I think it's a fake checkbox system anyways, but if he really wants to play with the QB, that great. I don't think Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young are your answer. And B,
I don't think he would even do the Carolina thing because that's even in division. Sadly, as much as I hate the Jags, that'd be a little more realistic to me because you'd be switching conferences in a division that's winnable. But again, I would put those 2 scenarios far behind what we mentioned.
Yeah, it's just Jacksonville doesn't have a lot of cap this year either. They're pretty handcuffed cap-wise. And you got to remember, they put in a lot into that wide receiver room, right? They took Brian Thomas with a first pick a couple of years ago. They took Hunter with the first pick last year, and they traded draft assets. So how much are you going to put into that room?
Yeah, they'd have to trade Brian Thomas, which I've seen as possible. That would have to be the play.
And I think he could get traded. He didn't seem like he was in it to win it there last year. I would love
balls, except for against the Colts.
I would love him on the Colts. I was just about to say, although I doubt that happens. But man, you talk about a guy with the high ceiling still on a rookie deal, Brian Thomas. I think that would be a good fit for the Colts if Pierce did leave, but I doubt Jacksonville would trade him to the Colts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to, even for my own team, I don't even know how to predict things because there's a lot of things right now with the cap space that teams have to change on their own. Like I said, trades, and you have free agency. So there's a lot of unpredictability still to be unfolding here over the next week.
Now, what we have to remember, too, after seeing what DJ Moore fetched, going to be harder for teams to get a guy like Brian Thomas because if a guy like DJ Moore got what he did, what would you have to give a first for a guy like Brian Thomas or what, because let's be real, he's played 31 NFL games so far, 2,000 yards in 31 games. That's pretty damn good. 12 touchdowns total receiving in those games. He has a pretty good decorated resume 2 years in. And don't get me wrong, I do like other options more than him. I think Stephon Diggs is the perfect guy for the Colts, and I'll explain that in a minute. But, Joey, again, if you lose Pierce and this guy is really available, you got to at least look into him if you are the Colts to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look into. I saw Mooney was even released today from Atlanta that you guys
killer.
Yeah, so if we lose Pierce, to me, we won't be probably trading for a while, but I could see one of these free agent guys, like a Mooney or somebody else that, you kind of trust that trust factor is there. Hey, this guy's going to come in. He's going to give you, your 50 to 70 balls and make some plays. So I'm intrigued for it all. Quite honestly, it's one of the more exciting times being on the premises of free agency.
Now, what if you traded Anthony Richardson for a wide receiver instead of a draft pick?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, Anthony Richardson has trade potential.
Because right now, I mean, you're looking at some of these quote-unquote contending teams. Look at their backup QBs. I mean, Denver, Jared Stidham, as much as people bragged about him, he looked like dog shit in that game. Jaguars backup Nick Mullins. Rams, Jimmy Garoppolo's probably leaving. Minnesota's been rumored. I think Colts would probably want to pick because they did let go of a couple picks for Gardner, but you can maybe get a player back for Richardson.
Yeah, and our GM, Chris Ballard, who's been here for 47 years now, he even said we will expect to trade back at some point to create more picks. To be honest with you, though, with the schedule our GM and coach are on, where it's pretty much get rich or die trying this season, if you know what I'm saying. I'm all about trading for players. Draft picks are great, but they usually take time to develop. I'm all about getting players over picks.
I agree, and that's why tough month for Diggs. I think he's on a retribution tour. If I'm the Colts, Joey, I'd offer him 1 year, $8 million with a lot of incentive.
Man, you keep trying to push all these receivers my way.
I'm saying a guy like Diggs, even if you bring Pierce back, I think a guy like Diggs would make a lot of sense for that team.
He probably wouldn't have without Pierce. Yes,
I'm assuming you'd probably cut Pittman then, or maybe let him go if Pierce is back, though.
And you might trade him for like a defensive player. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of variability and possibility here. But again, I'm all about players over picks. So if you're talking about giving me Diggs for 1 year, $8 million, I wouldn't be upset with it because for 1 year, he won't ruin your locker room. You just don't want the guy there long term.
And you have to remember, if you brought in Diggs and say Pierce walks, you're going to get a comp pick for Pierce next year. So you're going to get, like a 4th round pick for Pierce. And so in theory, you'd be getting a guy like Diggs and a 4th or 5th round pick for Pierce. And whoever signs Diggs, even if it's not the Colts, Joey, I would give him like $8 million base, and then hey, $500,000 if you reach 70 catches. Here's $500,000 if we reach the playoffs. make a guy like that contract a lot of bonus incentive based.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that needs a wideout from, I mean, we can name all the teams, but it'd be a good 1 year, $8 million. I'd sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Couldn't agree more. We are live here on the Buccateers talking all things NFL, free agency, all that good stuff. I will say he is not actually Richard. The Saints restructured Jawan Johnson's base salary. They did that today, but he's still on the Saints. The Saints also restructured Chase Young and Justin Reed's salary to make some cap room. So he wasn't released. He was restructured, Jawan Johnson. I'm assuming you're talking about the Saints tight end, but Joey and I are talking here on the Buccateers. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. You'll never miss an episode. Super chats and memberships are never expected, but always appreciated. Our upcoming schedule remains loaded. We'll be back Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Monday, our free agent frenzy special at 6 Eastern. Wednesday, Happy New Year NFL show at 6 Eastern. Gonna keep rolling and rolling and rolling. Speaking of rolling, UFC is rolling into a pay-per-view with Vegas this weekend. Live in Vegas, UFC 326, Joey. Holloway Oliveira 2. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a really fun one.
Oh, I mean, we've been waiting for this one for a while now. It's been damn over a decade. I wish, like anything else, you see stupid Floyd Mayweather needs a buck. He keeps showing up. These guys aren't like that over the hill. I wish it just was a little sooner, but this is going to be awesome. I'll be rooting for Max Holloway for sure. If people remember, the fight was stopped last time after Oliveira suffered an injury. So I'm going with Holloway in this fight for sure, but I'm just excited to see what happens. I mean, the whole card itself seems pretty solid, but hard to get mad about this round 2 here.
Yeah, Richard, you're talking about Jawan Jennings, I believe, my good friend. So he'll be available. Brandon Ayuk will too, but who the hell would want a guy like Brandon Ayuk these days? I mean, good God.
God.
That's why wide receivers, man, the Bucs have been so blessed with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, just like the Colts back in the day were blessed with Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, because wide receivers like those guys, Joey, are just unheard of. I mean, look at all these drama bugs causing all these bugaboos. But UFC, Max Holloway, I do think he beats Oliveira. That's for the lightweight championship. That'll be the main event. Once again, this is live from Las Vegas, 8 o'clock Central Times, the main card on Saturday the 7th on Paramount Plus. You also get Kyle Borrallo against Rainier de Ritter. You get Rob Font. He's a very good fighter there out of Puerto Rico versus Raul Rosas Jr. You get Drew Dober against Michael Johnson, Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferrara over there. Then in the prelims, you got my guy Cody Garbrandt, very good fighter, against Zhao Long. Dante Johnson against Cody Brundage. Ricky Turquios against Alberto Montes. Cody Durden. The sky's kind of falling on him a little bit. He's scoring up against Niam Agarl Tumendeburl, however you pronounce that one. And then you got a lot of guys on the prelims too. So, Joey, it should be a pretty good day. The prelims start all the way up at 4 Central. So if you're a UFC fan, you pretty much get 6 hours of action live on Saturday.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Paramount's worked out well. Shout out to Michael Johnson. I'll be rooting for him. He's from Florida, but he was born in St. Louis, but he also been in Florida. So he's getting a little bit older, so I'll be rooting for him. I like the guys on their way out who given a great career. But, yeah, I mean, they have a good thing rolling as they get closer and closer to the White House card. A lot of rumors there. I don't listen to the bullshit, but Dana White said the card will be out soon. That's what I'll be focused in on that. But, yeah, no, definitely tune in this Saturday, the biggest one, and a little bit of time here.
Good God, too. Before we get into wrestling here, as once again, UFC 326 live from Vegas, Holloway Oliveira 2 for the championship at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, 8 o'clock Central, Saturday, March 7th is the main card start time. Before we get into wrestling here, Joey, the free agent running backs this year are really good too. This is a position where if your team needs a starter or backup running back, there's a good bit to go around. And, wide receiver can't really say the same, but listen to the running backs quick available. Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson Jr., Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, Sean Tucker, Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, Amir White, A.J. Dillon, Antonio Gibson, Amir Abdullah, Jaleel McLaughlin, Elijah Mitchell. There's some good veteran depth there at the running back position in free agency.
Absolutely, and the Colts need a backup to Taylor as he gets a little bit older and has great seasons. We'd be able to spell him more. A guy like Aaron Jones or J.K. Dobbins, Algier. I'd love any of those guys. I'm sure as Tampa would, with teams losing a little bit of running backs there. I mean, running backs don't get overly paid, and you can find a good backup here with the depth you just named. So I'm hoping the Colts and Bucs attack that a little.
Yeah, speaking of attack, wrestling's been on the attack. WWE in the road to WrestleMania, AEW in the road to Revolution. Joey, much like the NFL offseason, you got to make those big free agent acquisitions. You got to make those big pushes. Yes, Chelsea Green, we are going to talk about her chamber meet and greets and the chamber experience and team store here shortly. But Joey, much like anything else in life, any of the other big sports, you make your big free agent signings. WWE made a huge splash this weekend. They have brought in Danhausen, and he's already appeared twice, cursing Dom Mysterio. I personally liked his opener intro. Me and you both kind of knew. We figured he was going to be the one in the box, but still a cool little twist on things. I told you a lot of fans in attendance weren't going to be appreciative of his character because of unfamiliarity. And, just wrestling fans sometimes are mainstream. But regardless, I think he's already coming around on a lot of fans. Me and you told people on Twitter he'd be a good success. And I think through 2 showings, he's been an early success and a big signing for the WWE.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we call this on Cleve and Me. Shout out Cleve and Me, and also on this show as well. And for the 7.5 people that got caught on camera booing in Chicago, shame on you, because that just means you don't know wrestling. This guy will be a great character. The idiots that say he don't fit, that's completely wrong. Monday Night Raw was perfection. Dirty Dom, the champ, was cursed by Danhausen. Boom, he loses it. He'll be on Smackdown Friday. You ordered a shirt. I got my Chelsea Green on. We're riding heavy off Elimination Chamber. And Danhausen is going to be a fun character who's beloved for years in this business.
And we will be doing, speaking of Cleve and Me, if you are not yet, go over to Cleve and Me for all your wrestling needs weekly on Twitter, on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Cleve and Me podcast, always bringing you guys the weekly rundown in wrestling. But we will be doing a giveaway, a collab here, Pigskin and Piledrivers and Cleve and Me. We're calling it the Wrestlemania Bundle. We're going to review items on Twitter as the days go, but let's just say one of them is an Elimination Chamber item that they gave away. Joey, I was pretty impressed with the giveaways. We were talking how wrestling barely give things away, and then we got CM Punk towels, John Cena sunglass holders. Thoughts on giveaways in the Superstore that Chicago had to run? I believe that was at the Carter in Chicago, yes. Was the Superstore.
Yeah, I was pleased. We were able to drive around our meet and greet, the store and the event, all 5 minutes from each other, free parking. We made it happen. And I got way too much. My bank account just kept dropping between my Cody Rhodes coat, what, Chelsea Green shirt, what, CM Punk Chicago Cubs shirt, what, Elimination Chamber keychain, what. I mean, the bullshit shirts we've outside the homeless stadium, 2 for $30. I mean, there is so much stuff. And I was happy. The CM Punk towel that came on each seat promoting WWE 2K. And then, as you said, with the Cena glass protector cleaner type casing there. So happy as event. I mean, they better give out some free stuff with how much they charge for tickets, number one. But number two, I think they did it right. I know you're a little bit into the memorabilia and autographs. They didn't have quite, although Man, you were snaped, man. We were in line for that AJ Lee, and right as we're getting up to the top, bam, they took that autograph right off the wall.
Yeah, I wish they would have had some at the Superstore. Maybe they did at one point, and maybe they sold out that quick. But man, just seeing that thing get unpinned from the wall was like, that one hurt a little bit. They sell pretty good priced pictures. They had CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. They both had them already. So I was targeting AJ Lee. Sadly, she was a hot commodity. Others must have been targeting her as well because I didn't get one. But that's all good. As Joey said, we got a lot of good merch from the stores itself as well. I like the store. I got a cool pillow. I really love the pillow, but I was hoping for a little bit more of memorabilia. They had a lot of belts. I will say, if you're a belt guy, they had a ton of.
They're expensive, but they have a lot of cool ones with the sports teams. Yes,
but and their pricing ain't awful nowadays either. Yeah, like some of them are a lot, but the Andre the Giant replica title, that's about $450, which ain't terrible. But yeah, money's gonna go in that store if you're buying a belt that you like, probably about a $700 investment right there. Then Joey, the meet and greets were at the Morgan MFG building. You met Chelsea Green. I met Lash Legend. You were in a little more of a cool spot. They had a bar by you. Mine was upstairs, but both good time. Lash was very cool. She was very sweet. I bought her printed out picture. She was nice. We talked briefly. Very cool how she had her tag team women's title that she won from the night before there. And then you and Chelsea Green had a fun little back and forth as well.
Yeah, great time. That's why I bought her shirt. Very personable person, even though WWE tries to move those pictures faster than my sex life. It is quite the time. I wore my Blackhawks jersey. Chelsea Green's a big Canadian hockey fan. She's like, your jersey's not fine, but I guess you are. So she just was awesome. Little kids wearing her gear, even though she wasn't supposed to sign, did a couple of those, and really impressed by the way they set that up. And up, like you were right upstairs with people in Lash Legend. I was right down there. They said the longest line to that point in time by far was Alexa Bliss. But there was greatness, and we got our photo ops after and framed and stuff. So appreciate those moments. It was good stuff and fun times.
Yeah, Joey, and as alluded to, we'll get into the actual chamber here in a minute, but good God, I seen the Stone Cold meet and greet price today at Mania. That's absurd. It's like $400 to meet him, $400 for an autograph. We got good valued one, but some of these are just ridiculous and absurd to me.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to continue. Money-wise, I mean,
we got good deals, but good God, just getting a picture with Stone Cold for $415, it's like, no thanks.
Yeah, no, I mean, even though I end up spending a lot of money total, we each get a decent amount of stuff. So no, I won't go that far and beyond. In fact, I'm to the point where I have so much memorabilia, I need to stop until I move out because I just can't simply find the room anymore. But you got to find the right gig and the right price. But hey, if you're rich, more power to you. Go buy the expensive stuff, and we'll stick to that mid-range.
Yeah, there's a lot of people at Wrestling World. The ones advertised by WWE, this is for Vegas. You get Stone Cold, Adam Pearce, AJ Lee, Bayley, Brie Bella, Carmelo Hayes, Chelsea Green, CM Punk, Dom Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Drew McIntyre, Julia, and so much more. The list goes on and on and on over there. Joey, thoughts on the chamber itself? I had a great time. I thought the United Center was really good for that event. I thought it did its part well. And I thought the chamber was pretty good. Although not the most matches in the world, I thought they made the most of what they had on the card. I thought it was a very fun show. I thought crowd was a little disappointing for Chicago, but we made sure they heard about it.
And again, I say that too. You're still getting packed houses with TKO, but you're just getting more of the corporate feel. That's why you might got not same the reactions, but I definitely liked United Center overall state, much more room. You playing the heel role with the fans was great around us. That was a lot of fun. CM Punk and AJ Lee, hometown Chicago, taking home the gold was great. Who doesn't love a Randy Orton win in the chamber? And then not to mention Rhea Ripley is one of the best female wrestlers in the business. So good results, fun times, good card. We did the day right with all three, the store, the meet and greet, and the event. Sadly, Ema joined us. That was probably the only downfall. But outside of that, it's really good stuff. And that's one I won't forget for sure. I've been to WrestleManias. I've been to plenty of other big shows. The first NXT in Chicago, AJ Lee's return. I just had a real good time, and it was really good stuff.
Yeah, and so far, speaking of good stuff, the Hall of Fame for the WWE class of 2026 thus far just announced was the Demolition Tag Team, to be decided on who inducts them. AJ Styles is going in as well, to be announced who inducts him. Stephanie McMahon going in, inducted by The Undertaker. Pretty good, strong class so far, Joey. That did get announced for midnight Eastern on Friday. I always tell people it's really 3 nights of Mania now, because that Friday you get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in the Hall of Fame, and then Saturday and Sunday you get Mania. But thoughts on the Hall of Fame class for the WWE in 2026 so far?
Amazing class. I mean, you want to talk about 3 groups / people that deserve it. I really will be hard pressed to find another one where you have 3 deep like that. I mean, AJ Styles just retired. Stephanie's obviously more on the management side, but had a really great career. And then tag team. I mean, just go. I went back and watched a couple of episodes. You'll be pleased right away. So I like this Hall of Fame class. Yes, it's on late. It's always on late. I remember being in my old place in Wheaton, staying up that time, especially with it being, this year it's in Vegas. Obviously, they look to have 14 to 16 matches there, but you got to fit everything in, like you said, 3 nights. When you have the Smackdown in the Hall of Fame, you have 2 days of Mania plus Monday Night Raw. It's a whole weekend extravaganza.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking forward to here in about a month away, a little over a month away. We're about 44 days away from WrestleMania weekend. Going to be an incredible weekend for wrestling fans, as should AEW Revolution, which is coming up next weekend.
I think, is it not this Sunday?
I think it's next weekend. I could be wrong, though, but I could have sworn it was mid-March.
Oh, yeah, you're right. March 15th. My apologies.
Yeah, but did you catch any of Dynamite last night, or thoughts on the upcoming Revolution?
Rarely. For once, I did not, because I was returning from a work trip, so I was a little bit of travel. Even though I got home, just had some shit to do, but definitely looking forward to Revolution. Next weekend I have off, so I'll be watching. Just because of last night's Dynamite, you've had Thekla versus Chris Stanlander will be 2 out of 3 falls. That was just added because of last night's AEW Dynamite. You also have Okada, Fletcher, and Mark Davis versus Mystico and Jet Speed, which came because last night for the Trios Championship. And there was a lot more than that, as we talked about last week and this week with the Texas Death Match with Hangman and MJF. It's going to be a fun card. I'm unlike you, who will be cruising. I'll be able to take it all in, as I'll be relaxing.
God, I always miss something, man. I always miss a pay-per-view. But what can you do? I'm looking forward to cruising here soon. Nick Wise had the same reaction I did to Titans and Raiders being interested in Mike Evans. He just quoted the tweet with laughing emojis as well. But Joey, last thoughts on WWE, AEW, UFC, NFL, or anything else that we could talk about while we're here?
I just want to say I'm very intrigued by Friday Night Smackdown, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre for the championship, because is it going to be Cody versus Orton at Mania for the strap, or is it going to be the Fatal 4-Way with Fatu and McIntyre as well? I personally would go with the Fatal 4-Way, but if Cody Rhodes wins, my guy, and he takes it there in a solo match, I would never be mad, because his chances to win get better. But that is key on SmackDown, and Danhausen will be there as well. So I'm excited for that and then I'll be rooting like hell for MJF, but I'll talk more about that next week.
Yeah, I bet you Danhausen's one of those floating guys on all the brands and promotions. You could use him even in AAA. Yeah, good stuff on the SmackDown primer there. Was going to ask about that, forgot, so thanks for bringing that up. Last little bit of news, Adam Schefter just tweeted out a minute ago, Colts are speaking with teams about a trade for their former Pro Bowl linebacker Zaire Franklin. Franklin led the NFL in tackles in 2024. Joey, quick thoughts on that before we get to our final words.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling Twitter. You said it came from Schefter, right?
Yeah, like a minute ago.
Well, Pops will be happy to see that. He has gotten better each season, but his mouth's gotten loud. They definitely he has a reasonable contract and gets over 100 tackles. Somebody will take him. But I want the Lou Anaromo defense, so whatever he wants, I trust. Go Big Lou.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Bucs need a linebacker. That'd be interesting if they made a trade for him. You never know.
If he ends up, I honestly kind of hope that happens because Pops is such a dick about Zaire.
That would be hilarious. I mean, well, you never know.
You don't seem to. You've kind of stayed quiet on the Zaire front, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a player. I don't hate the guy, but he could be a little more quiet. But he's a passionate dude. What can you do?
He's good. If Tampa, if you do get him, great on run defense, gets over 100 tackles, but don't put him up against any good tight ends or slot receivers.
See, there's a guy you could dangle out there for wide. Maybe offer Richardson and Franklin for Brian Thomas. Boom, there you go, right there.
Holy shit, we're getting shifty in here in the AFC side. You know what?
Oh boy, we're out. Finishers are skipped. We got the toes out. Have fun at your epic looking steakhouse, and we'll see you on the other side.
You called it Country Buffet, didn't you?
No, QQ Buffet, Magic Walk City, same thing. God bless you though, brother. See you on the other side. We'll be back on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern here on the Buccateers, barring some crazy breaking news, and we have to come sooner. But expect for Sunday, Joey Nips, Tampa Tones. J-Lo couldn't join us tonight. Pigskin and Piledrivers will be back. Taking next week off. We'll be back the week after. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace. Bro, we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Cove's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Cove! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time. But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. First NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, this is so cool to see. It was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like he got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, it was still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make a
Do it.